I am a former Grandmaster Overwatch support player, and more importantly for the purposes of this video, I am a coach. But I'm kinda washed. See, as a coach, I help people learn how to improve and break down the game in a way that helps them process how things work. However, while I'm not washed at coaching, the reason I'm only a former GM player is that I haven't really played the game in months. See, I used to play a whole lot of Overwatch, and was a relatively high-ranked player. However, I didn't focus on becoming a good player as much as I focused on understanding the game so I could coach it. Playing the game and my rank have generally been more about double-checking my understanding and theory of the game so I could teach it to others, and a whole lot less about a drive to compete and actually be good at it. As a coach, I've coached people from all ranks, from bronze to top 500 on console and PC. However, I got a bit burnt out. There was a point where I wasn't super happy with the state of Overwatch, so I simply just took a break. That was a few seasons ago at this point. However, with hero bans and the latest new character, Freya, I've come to find myself really enjoying the game again, and I've especially been enjoying getting back into playing and coaching the game. This newfound enjoyment of the game has made me want to start making content so I can help more people get a better understanding of Overwatch. And so, I had an idea. See, as a coach, I've always had a bit of an issue with one of the most common kinds of educational content: unranked to GMs. While there is some helpful stuff that can be learned from some of them, the videos aren't really representative of what the actual path to GM will look like for most players. They're usually done by pro players in just a day or two with very top-down explanations for decision making. In comparison, although I was formerly a GM player, I stopped playing the game as much when I stopped enjoying it, so I haven't really consistently played it for about 4 or 5 months. So I'm going to have to do quite a lot of improvement to get back to GM. So consider this something more like a realistic unranked to GM, where the player doing it isn't just a GM player smurfing, and instead it's a player with the potential for GM narrating the thought process and fixing the mistakes to show the actual process that is necessary to improve and get into high ranks. So what I'll be demonstrating and teaching you to do, and what will hopefully be an ongoing series, is how to think about the game from a support perspective in a way that makes you more effective as a player. First, I'll play a ranked game while attempting to narrate my thought process. Then, I'll do a self-VOD review to see what I could have done better. With all that being said, it's time for me to get in game and really start finding my mistakes. However, there are still 3 problems. The first one is that I am really rusty and I'm going to have to get back into the swing of things as far as decision making and mechanics go. The second and third problems are placements and rank decay. And yeah, it is safe to say that these will be some pretty big problems. So I figured I'd do a bit of off-camera mining. Since the medal ranks are well below the lobbies that I'm used to playing in, I didn't really have any games that were close or competitive or even really worth getting into, so I figured I'd stop and record once I got to a rank where I actually started getting punished for my mistakes. Now, for the first game of this challenge, I'm going to be playing, in my opinion, the most underutilized support in the game: Brig. Now, even if you personally don't play Brig, this video will still have a ton of good general information for all supports and even the other roles. Plus, this could be a really good place to start learning and get a general idea of what makes Brig strong, as well as what makes an effective Brig player. As far as analysis goes, the 2 most important things that you must be aware of and consider when trying to improve are off angles and timing. Using those 2 things as a lens through which to view your own mistakes is a great start to improving for all roles, not just support. For a quick rundown of definitions, an off angle is a position that will separate the attention of the enemy team, and timing simply refers to ensuring that when you take action, your team is also taking action. The main focus of our game today will simply be on taking good angles. That is what the overwhelming majority of players on all roles and all characters struggle with. People really don't even start consistently taking good off angles until at least high masters or so. So I think this will probably be the most important thing to demonstrate here. One final thing to note is that the original footage of the ranked game I'll be showcasing today wasn't properly formatting, as you'll see when you get to the hero selection screen in just a second, so I got that gameplay footage the same way I got the footage you're currently watching, and just used the replay viewer while turning off the team banners. You'll still be hearing the audio that I recorded during that game, just with replay viewer footage, so that's why you can see people through walls. So on Brig, what do I want to ban here? Let's see. For Brig, good general bans are things that like either you can't reach, like Afar, Echo, really good bans, or things that if you do reach them, it doesn't really matter and they can just annihilate you. So Junkrat is a pretty terrible matchup for you. Torb can also be really annoying. Ramatra is actually pretty bad as well, especially on this map. I usually, like, you know, Farah and Echo want to be your highest priority bans, but they're not super good on this map. There's just not a lot of verticality for them to work with. Interesting. All right, so the enemy team banned Torb. But in this game, I'm going to focus on the biggest mistake that I see from Brig players, which is where I see them playing very passively. Right? They can heal their team from range, and that's almost all that they want to do. Right? They sit and they, you know, pack people from distance, and they only really look to brawl like on the enemy tank. They don't quite take opportunities to, you know, position themselves on angles and deny enemy DPS of positioning. Right? Healing and, you know, providing inspired, it's all fine and dandy, but you know, denying positioning is so much more important. So that's really what we're going to be looking to do here, is make sure that we're always in some kind of short range angle, preferably with someone else to help, you know, because we're on support. And you know, do whatever we can from that position, right? If there's somebody in that position to duel, we'll take the duel. If we do a bad job at the duel, then, you know, try not to die. So we'll see. Immediately, I want to roll out on that left side there. It just looks a little more congested, and that's generally something I'm going to like. And see, look, there it is. There's my Genji. If there's somebody else here that can test this for it, like this mentor, right? We're going to play our cards. Genji. Go on that. Like it. Woo. There we go. Alright. See, notice, what support can take that position and lift them, right? This is very greedy. 5v1, so. Generally, wouldn't recommend shield bashing into Ram or any tank. Something like maybe you could get away with it on ball, but like, what other support can take this angle and live that, right? Into Venture, into Moira fading on me. Okay, this is very bold. Fire. I'm gonna back up here. This is open space. I don't want to be here. Okay? I want to bait them into this close range area. Okay? My DPS are here. Also, wish someone to go here. I'll give that respect. Ram wants to go in the brawl here. That's fine. Bad mechanics. Oh, you know what? Screw it. I'll pick this one. Both, honestly, all of Brig's perks are really good. Doesn't really matter what you pick. There's generally going to be some logic that'll make it work. Again, we're playing this open space here, which is good for our Sojourn. I'll make sure I support her, but I don't necessarily want to go into that open space myself. It's just not very good for me. Alright. I might have just messed up my rank. My quick shots are a little messy, but notice, right? Just always looking for the... Sorry, trying to talk and play at the same time. It's a little tricky. But notice, always looking for these short range angles, right? I want to take duels. I want anything that's going to be on these short range angles. I should be well equipped to deal with, right? Tracer, let's catch her. They're walking on me. I have rally here, so they gotta respect it. They're using their Moira's ult. The Ram's gonna die, but we won our angle handedly. I should just keep keeping on this turn. Oh. I'm dead there. We can't trade the Orisa. That was a little greedy for me. I didn't have shield bash. It was good play by the Orisa to catch me out there. That was my bad. I got a little greedy. That's why it was important for me to deepen on my angle without using shield bash, so I had it to retreat if I needed it. See if I can attack on my Soj, make sure he doesn't die in the duel. No! So bad. we didn't even flip point. Alright, notice, I'm just looking for these close range angles. I know I'm like really saying it over and over again, right? But it's like, I mean, just look what characters are going to be here, right? I wasn't even trying to go for the Tracer. That wasn't what I was trying to predict, but like I'm just going on close range angles, and close range characters are going to be on close range angles, right? So that's why I've spent a lot of my game dueling their Venture and their Moira and the Tracers, because I'm just in positions that they want, and I'm not letting them have those positions, right? Because from those positions, they can do more. I don't want them to take those positions and be able to. I want to limit them, right? So notice, where am I going to go? Short range angle. The damage is real juicy. Oh, they're on double hit scan. Right, notice, look at this distraction. Now I can even go and flank. Oh, no, I didn't hit the wall slam. Notice, right now I can even play Reddit bit with Reddit break, right? Because I staged it from a close range off angle. Now, ideally, I get to have somebody on that angle with me, but if not, I can get plenty of value there because my character is built for that, right? And if they had had a dive character, right, as we saw, they would have tried to contest me there, and I would have denied it. For low masters, games still feel a little easier. Right, I'm gonna trust my team's gonna be fine. Alright, my team's not gonna be fine. It's alright. Let's see. I want to get on their back. That Moira. We're down here, so we're gonna lose this fight. Ooh, if we don't do something a little risky. I'm gonna cancel that. No, I missed that. Get the kill. I wanna be careful here. I'm gonna let my ram go first before we do it. Flank this cast. Notice, even in the first angle. Ooh, close. But when I'm down there, that was a really risky rally play to go for. But like, we were down, so we're gonna lose the fight anyways. So I may as well just, do something risky, play really aggressive to try and turn it. And it worked out, right? I was able to get in on their backline. Do a lot. Another cast. I think I do them well. Oh, lucky. See, honestly, that's why I shouldn't have left my angle to even go for that little bit of healing. Oh god, from there earlier? Sorry, Sojourn jumps from there. Alright, it is now after the game, and we are going to go back and take a look and really start to break down some of the details of what went on in that game, and, start to review and grade our performance of how we did at taking those close range off angles that we set as a goal before we went into this. So here, let me adjust some of these settings. Let me turn down my game volume just a little bit, or decent a bit, because I noticed it was a little hard to hear me at some moments during the game. Alright, so remembering what we said, right? Close range off angles, and then that other thing of timing, which largely I did a pretty good job with, so we won't go over it too much. But, brig, I want to be close to things, right? My character functions very well at close range, so that's a requirement. So here, right, this is a very congested space. I want to play with my Genji here, because, well, he's here, as well as this is the space that I want to be in, right? So I'm going to fight for this, right? Or I'm going to do whatever, whatever presents itself for value that is here on this angle. So here, just dueling the Venture, supporting my Genji. He helps me out, get the Venture, boom. The Moira fades in, right? That's her mistake, using a cooldown to get in, as well as it's also her mistake because I think she probably realized at some point here that, oh shoot, she messed up. She should have been with this Venture, right? In fact, her mistake is not doing what I did and rolling out on the angle with her DPS. So she kind of just gets support dipped here. And doesn't even get the kill on me. I know I went down to like 3 HP or something stupid like that, but that's her mistake, right? If she had been on the angle before, she would have had fade. And, not just died. So she realized her mistake and then made an even bigger mistake by fading into my team and got punished for it. And then from here, the rest of this is just kill whatever's left. So did a good job on my angle. Killed the Venture. Got the Moira killed. Even if I had died there, the Moira was super weak. My Genji was already getting my Inspire. Like, he wins that easily. We just win. So from here, see, I'm still trying to stay in these close range angles, but if my team is walking out, I can't just say, nope, I'm going to plant my feet and shake my head and not listen. You know, my team is walking out. Ultimately, I gotta play with my team. But I do want to stay in these both angles, right? Now it's the Sojourn who's on this close range angle, so I'm gonna support my Sojourn, right? Whatever is here, whatever is convenient for me to deal with, I'm gonna deal with. You know, as well as because I'm brig with AoE healing, anything that's near me while I'm doing good things on these angles is getting healed, the Inspire, I can pack it and all that. It's really, I mean, the name of the game is just take your position and then do what makes sense from this, from whatever position you take. You know, positioning is very contextual. It's going to change. So here, again, same thing as last fight, just fortifying the angle with my DPS, allowing them to play more aggressively. Right, if I were sitting with the rest of my team, I wouldn't have a sightline to heal and enable my DPS to do this. So I'm really glad I'm here, right? This is helping my DPS do more. I'm here, they just don't touch. Similar thing, right? This is when nothing comes to me on that left side there. This is what happens, you know, if they're on the other side, right? I simply just go deal with them. So see, playing off angles, especially on support, enables other people to be able to play those positions, right? You are the enabler, you're support. So you play those positions selfishly because you can get value there, but, you know, in being there, it also doesn't hurt that you're helping other people. Similar thing here, right? And it's not a coincidence that the Tracer is here, right? I try and flank behind her, but this is a close range angle, okay? So I'm gonna naturally just deny characters like Venture and Tracer just by taking the positions that I want to take selfishly, right? Because Brig's not the only close range character in the game. You know, my Genji, also a close range character, so I'm often gonna see him on the angles that I'm trying to take and support, because, you know, he just wants those close ranged angles and spaces, and so do I. So it works out real well. We have a lot of good synergy here. Now here, this is a little bit of like micro meaning like mechanics, like fine little details and just small decisions that you make in the moment that aren't necessarily part of your overall strategy, right? So here I see the Venture, I see I'm getting pinched between multiple angles here, right? And that is always bad. You do not want to be between multiple angles, right? The Tracer was here trying to look for me, the Venture's coming here, right? So I immediately say, oh no, this is bad, and I just bash out. Right? And this is just playing, you know, whatever my angle gives me. If they try and put a lot of resources into me, like if their entire team just rotates and says, all right, let's go kill this brig, we don't like her. All right, fine, I'll give it to them. I'll just shield bash out and I'll just, you know, run for the hills, right? Now, also notice the timing of this rally after their Venture used Burrow, and while I heard their Moira using Cold, right? I knew that these guys didn't have cooldowns, so they were very, very punishable. And I mean, as we saw, the Venture just exploded. Here, I made a bit of a mistake. This is the biggest mistake I've made throughout the game, I'd say. Here, I'm already on the angle. I'm literally like 2 steps from getting value on this angle, right? By just walking out with my Genji. I just walk out and then, you know, I'm still in rally, right? We maybe could have killed this brig. I could have rally bashed under, or could have booped the Orisa back in. You know, a lot of you could have done whatever. It doesn't really matter, right? Probably should have just went and 2v1 this brig and killed her real quick. But I kind of go back for no reason, and I try and go around. I try and make a much longer rotation when I already had a good rotation right there, and then I have to use shield bash because I realize, oh shoot, I made a mistake, and now I'm in a much worse spot because no shield bash. I get pulled in, and I'm just dead here, and then I get brig death, right? The worst thing of all. But the mistake there was simply just, you know, not going with what my angle was providing me with, because then I realized, oh shoot, I'm late to supporting my DPS, and then I had to use shield bash, just like what that Moira did on the first point, right, where she realized, oh frick, I messed up, I needed to be there with my teammate, and wasn't, then she used a cooldown to close the distance, and then got punished for it. Same thing. Here, just, again, even if I wasn't chasing this Tracer, this is really congested space. Brig is very good here. I would strongly recommend just being here. I'd probably make my way here, even if I wasn't going for this Tracer. This is fine. I take a good angle. I hit my mechanics. Yippee. Sick. Great. Here, all right, I'm going back. Where do I want to be? Close range angle. So here, my team is looking to play out a little bit, right? They want to try and make sure they deny the touch from the enemy team, and boom, I find my short range off angle, and I find and deny the Tracer. So, well, really, really good. Here, small thing, I could have like put my shield down and like, you know, aid a little bit of the damage with my armor, because if your shield breaks, it's like almost a death sentence a lot of the time on brigs. So. Or at least it would be like while we're still trying to rotate through open space. I really needed access to shield bash and all that. Here, right, finding my close range off angle. Like, I'm sure I totally could find value, right, through being here with my team, proccing Inspire, right, whipping the Orisa. But, like, here, this is where the threats are going to be, right? Because I'm sure their team could find a lot more value, right, if they don't have any ults, but, like, if they were to, for example, like, flank a Noon or something, right? And see, here I'm even enabling my teammate to go and take this angle with me, right? My Sojourn's looking for it now. So, taking angles on support will inspire your team to also take those angles, right? And now we have a really, really good push set up here, or we will in just a second. You see, I'm just waiting. See, I'm just waiting. I'm just distracting, harassing, and being annoying, right? Because their team can't really do much with their Sojourn and everyone just sitting in their own backline, right? And even their own brig, right? Like, in fact, we can look and compare what are the brigs doing. Right? Their brig is doing, you know, the other option, right? This is fine. I mean, you know, it's not offensive. I mean, missing the whip shot's pretty bad, but like getting that. Oh, shield bashing the tank. Shield bashing the tank is just no bueno. Like, I mean, like this is what she does. Like, I mean, it's like it's just frontline brig, you know. Like you can assist in the tank trades, right? Like tanks are all close range, right? You can do something here, but it's just so much more dangerous. It's like high risk, low reward. Meanwhile, something like the angle that I was taking was more low risk, high reward, right? Like something like this. I mean, look what it allowed me to do. I was just able to literally walk into their backline for free, right? This was a really well-timed push, right? We see that my Genji's in, my Ram's in ulting, my Juno's ulted, my Sojourn has a great angle here. Like, this is just a phenomenal push for my team. This is a super, super good angle setup. Like this is great stuff, right? And part of it is I inspired my Sojourn to take this position, right? She might have taken it without me, right? But, you know, certainly probably didn't hurt for her decision making that she knew she would have support if she went on that angle because I was there. So that's another really big reason why it's important to take angles, especially on support. And on every character. Every character should be taking angles of sorts. But here, my Ramatra, he's looking to play out a little bit. Again, remember, I don't necessarily want to, and he probably shouldn't because he's gotten his Nemesis form forced early. Right? Here, just... Alright. Bit of explaining to do here for decision making. I see my Genji just got picked, right? What do we do if we still want to win this fight, right? We have Sojourn ult, and we have Brig ult. So how do we still try and find a way to win this fight? We have to make something happen. Something's got to die now, otherwise they're just going to walk at us, and they have a numbers advantage, so they're just going to kill us. So this is where I use my short-ranged off angle, right? And I just go. Right? Go on their back. Right? And this makes space and enables my Ramatra to go as well, right? So now we have, like all of a sudden, this fight has gone from, great, guys, we have gotten, you know, opening pick, we're in a super good spot to win this, to, oh, shoot, this is really scary. Now there's ulting Brig and Ram in their backline. So this is a pretty high risk, high reward play. Like, as you see, like, my health bar gets pretty low. I do almost die, 60 HP. But again, right, like, we definitely would just lose the fight if we don't get a trade immediately, right? So we get that trade. All right, we get another trade. Sick. Fight winnable. It's now just a 3v3. 3v2. Right, and even here, notice, I still went for the angle on the castle. She tries to get me with it again, but nope. I played it better this time, right? I kept pushing on my angle, right? I could have made the same mistake here and just kept walking, you know, right as I was before, right? And the Orisa would have probably been able to force my shield bash out here. And then she would have been able to ult me to follow up, and I wouldn't have had it. But nope, I went around here, and I was just able to walk into this Cassidy. Because, well, simply put, actually, wait, did I shield bash? I shield bash. I didn't quite need to. I could have just walked to kill this guy. But, you know, even here, I was safe enough to where the Orisa, like, I still have distance from the Orisa, right? Which is the big thing. I'm still taking this fight on my own terms. I can keep my distance when I want to, and then walk in when I want to. Those off angles are what allow you to avoid the tank trades. And as we saw there, and as we've seen with all these fights, right? That's why their Brig just got caught up in the tank trade and died. even through rally, while I was able to get on their backline and just turn the fight and kill them. Here, right, I went for the pack on my ram, and as I said, like, this almost made me miss this cast, right? If, you know, there's a world where that cast walks out and just, like, 2-taps somebody, because he actually gets the space in the angle, but they don't get the retouch going. So, yeah, pretty solid brig game. I'd say I did a pretty good job with taking the angles. Getting myself into close range off angles, did a pretty good job with that. Really, the only mistakes I made were like the things I did once I got on those angles, and that's where things get really difficult, so I'll cut myself some slack. You should as well. You should cut yourself some slack in general, but take this as like a bit of a guide for, you know, how to support. This is also very, very relevant if you're a Lucio player, and you want to get into playing Lucio. Brig and Lucio, they position relatively similarly. You know, short range, off angles, AoE healing supports, so very similar stuff. Let's see. Timing was the other thing. Timing, did a pretty good job with that, right? I saw with my ram when I pushed in with rally, my ram there in this fight to try and turn it. It was pretty good. I never really got caught out because I was like going in 1v5 or anything like that. Like I generally waited for my team to do something actionable to make space for me to go in, and then I went in, right? So I didn't get punished for bad timing. I did get punished for messing up my trades on angles, so pretty good. I'd say if I had to give myself something to work on, right, it's committing to those angles once I'm already on them, right? And this is kind of the general mindset and thought process that you want to do that will really help you rank up and figure out your own mistakes and fix them. If you have any questions, you can feel free to DM me. You can add me. My Discord should be in the bio. If you want a coaching session with me personally, I'd be more than happy to do that. Feel free to DM me and we can set one up. But yeah, thank you for watching the Brig Guide.